lang. So, yan na. Okay? Ayaw pag ihatag tanan si mga kaubang nga kabalo ka nga dili siya kabalo sa akong pagbuhat na. Nasabtan?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sige. Okay, regardless of your research area and the methodology you choose, all research proposals must address the following questions. What you plan to accomplish, why you want to do it, and how are you going to do it. Okay? Wow lang. Okay? I just wow. Grabe ka wow, no? These following questions for your research proposal, wow. Okay? You will be asking yourself, okay, what plan do you want to accomplish today? Based from your research na gibuhat karon, di ba? Are you planning to establish that one? Are you planning to why do you want to do it? Okay, what's the point of doing it? Di naman good sir kay ana magud si Ma'am Silva sir kay dili ko na ni maka-graduate kung di ni nakabato capstone research. Di ba nagalan si Ma'am Silva na ako na lang magpabuhat sa inyo dana. Because in every isa-asa ka nga direction mo tanaw class, there should be a purpose. Di ba? So why do you want to do it? Karel, Butkon. Nana ka dyan, Karel?
Sir?
Oh, Karel, absent tabi ka tunyagi Karel, kiwa ka nagtubag. Kay, tingnan ko absent ka na to nga type, imurang device ang kwan, ang present. But anyways, Karel, why do you want to do your research, Karel? May I know the reason? Sige daw. Why do you want to do your research? Why do you want to do it?
Kaya kailangan man, sir.
Kailangan ni Ma'am Silva?
Oo, sir.
Document. Okay, so dili ni mo feel, no? For the grace lang siya. How about you? Okay, Sinyara.
Sir.
Okay, Sinyara, this is your, just to inform you, Sinyara, this is your first attendance sa akong class, Sinyara. So, ikaw, Sinyara, why do you want to do your research? What's the point of doing, why do you want to do it?
Para akong sir, baka nang para sa imong pagtrabaho binapon sir. Para sa proposal sir, nang pag-apply ng magtrabaho sir, ano ba sir? Ma-apply na kay mabalan ka sir.
Usa may gusto nimo sa future day, may mo kang
All kan ba sir kanang undecided ko sir kay. Wala, pero pang wala ko malo pa sir.
Usa man imong kwan day, usa man imong first choice day.
Kwan sir kanang ulang budget man gid sir, with financial sir bitaw pero murag mag-grem ra siguro sir kay.
Dili, what I'm talking about is what is your first choice day?
First choice? Kwan sir kanang mag-engineer sir. First choice.
Okay. So let's say that is your plan, Sinyara. That is your plans to become an engineer. So why do you want to be an engineer? Sige, why do you want to be an engineer, Sinyara? Why do you want to be an engineer? Sige. Bisaya kung di ka kakatubad. Sige. Why do you want to be an engineer? Why engineering? Okay?
Para dalitan kanang primero sir, gusto ko mag-engineer sir kay ang kan man gud ang kan sa engineer man gud kay once engineer ba dali ra maka-apply bitaw trabaho sir.
Okay.
Ano ba sir?
So di makatrabaho. Usaan man nimo para may mo ka engineer?
Kwan sir kana mag-eskwela sir kana mag-eskwela sir may mo engineer sir.
Okay, magswelak tarong para may mo engineer. Okay. So thank you, Marty. Actually, ingat to, no? So what I've done to Marty is kwan siya. Those are the process that you need to acquire. Those are the things that you need to consider when you are doing your proposal. Okay? So first, gusto si Marty may mga engineer. Kasama niya pa maramag gusto siya mag-engineer. It's because let's say easy money because daghan pa di masudal nga trabaho once you become an engineer. But unsaon nimo para may maka engineer? Okay? Kailangan ka magparang eskwela. It's the same thing when you do the research class. You will be agreeing on the plan, propose a plan, then agree, and then uh, you will do the process systematically. Okay? Plot by plot, you will do it. And then you will be doing it by means of what? Collecting of datas. Kung saan pa collect sa datas? Formulate a questionnaire, formulate a survey, uh, do some interviews. Okay? Kung ato siyang i-base sa real life man good, this proposal, these questions that were asked to create the proposal is the same thing that we are asked based from our real life situation. Okay? These are the questions that we are actually dealing every day. It means that every day we are creating proposals. Nasabtan ninyo ang kwan? Nasabtan ninyo ang logic behind sa scenario?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mismo ka mo mag-gusto yung balay, you're doing some research proposal. Not to the extent nga about scientific yun siya. But sometimes man good, create a proposal based from what we are observing every day. Like, the moment you wake up, you will ask yourself, usa ka akong buhaton karon? Ay, online class. How are you going to do it the online class? Kilala na kay attendance. Kilala ka mag-appeal. And how are you going to do it? Diba? You open your phone, you listen to the teacher, then you take note everything that is very important. So, yan na siya. But it's about how curious you are. Brilliant idea is waste if the plans that you have is actually not convincing. So, bisan pag naakit gusto ko mo team up kay Kwan. Gusto ko mo team up kay Elijah. Si Elijah bright kaayo. Kisa yung nakin among research kasi Elijah bright. Do you think that's a right idea? Of course, no. Even Elijah himself didn't know how to do the research. Although bright kay siya. Okay? He has this amazing ideas on what to do the research, on how to do the research, but he doesn't know what will be the right process, what will be the different aspects that he need to encounter because he wanted his research to be perfect, he wanted his research to be essential. Those are the things that you need to consider because those are the disadvantage part of being someone thought na bright kaayo. Okay? But the point here is not. Okay? What you need here is a convincing idea. Diba? You have to create this convincing idea. If your idea is so convincing, bitaw class, title pa lang, catchy na kaayo, the outcome will be wow. Diba? W-O-W na dyan na. Wow. So, imagine that word. Diba? Imagine that kanang expression nga wow. It means that your research is really has created an impact, especially to the reader. Okay? So, first thing that you need to consider when you write a proposal is the title. The title should be concise and descriptive. Often, titles are stated in terms of a functional relationship because such titles clearly indicate the independent and dependent variables. Agoy, napakita na po sa independent o dependent variables. Kabalo na mo sa pagbuhat na. Ikaw, Harajin. Balo na ka na, Harajin?
Hindi pa, sir.
Dili pa. Na, ko. Ikaw, Kwan. Ikaw, Mark. Ho. Balo na ka about sa dependent or dependent variable, Mark?
Dili pa gud, sir.
Dili pa po. Okay? So, first, no, you have to at least know what is the the purpose of identifying the dependent and the independent variable in the research. So you have to do some study about that one, okay? Piece of advice lang. However, if it's possible, think of an informative but catchy title. An effective title not only piques the reader's interest, but also predisposes him or her favorably towards the proposal. This is what I meant about convincing idea. A very convincing idea creates a very catchy title. Kung ang imong title is about, for example, sa inyong barangay, na may nakitaan nga kwan, na may nakitaan nga discrepancy when it comes to the kwan, to your covered court, no? And then as a researcher, you have created this title about the efficacy of creating a covered court in the middle of in the side of the road, for example. So, syempre, the word efficacy there, it means is it efficient that the court is established or was built on the roadside? So, na siya, first mo consider na. Tapos, syempre, as a reader, once you have seen the title, medyo makwan ka. Ako personally, makwan ko. First of all, ma-question mo na, ano kani ang research niya? Si Sarah Tubagdana, no? Possible, ang iyahang point is, the researchers wanted to know kung sabay, kung okay ba or sakto ba nagibutang ang covered court kilid sa dalan. But the question is, was the title catchy? Catchy ba ang efficacy of building a covered court on the roadside? Kung ikaw reader,
Dili kayo, sir.
diba? Matatabili kayo siya. Because, ngano question man mo kung ang covered court, so for engineer ni siya, ang covered court, gibutang dapat sa kilid. Sa dalan. Diba? First question, may labot nimo as a researcher kung magtukod di ang barangay ug kwan, covered court sa kilid. So the title itself, it's not catchy. So wala kay time nga magbasaha na wasting your time reading such research or article that is actually answerable by your mind. Okay? Pwede na nimo matubag na ang research sa engineering or sa engineer philosophically. So, di ba? What's the point of creating the title? So you have to make sure that your title should be convincing and it should be something that is, let's say, what do you call this one? Based siya sa present time, based siya sa mga present problems that we are encountering every now and then. That should be one of the consideration that you need to at least to understand. Because if you are not creating a title based from what is actually happening, the essence of your research will not be vulnerable at the same time. Because it's nothing but a joke if you will create a title based lang sa kung ang imong title is answerable na sa mga philosophical ang mind. Okay? So, yan na. You have to make sure that your title is catchy. So, next is the abstract. Kani. It is a brief summary of the approximately 300 words. It should include the research question, the rationale for the study, the hypothesis, the methods, and the main findings. Abstract can only be established once you have created already your chapter 1 and 6 or 5. Or in short, if it's done already. If you have collected already your data, if you have studied the different aspect of your research, then you can now establish your abstract. Do not create abstract yet if ang imong nabuhat lang is only the introduction. Okay, wala pa gani na living proof ang imuhang data na or ang imuhang title. Nagbuhat ang abstract based from introduction. Okay. bright na kay ka, no? Kay nakakuha mo, mahulaan mo kung sa future sa iyong research. Okay, the introduction, of course, di ba? The introduction. The main purpose of the introduction is to provide necessary background or context of your research problem. How to frame the research problem is perhaps the biggest problem in proposal writing. So, that's the point of learning the framework. That's the point of learning the planning. The result, let's say the result based na framework. If you know how to create the framework that should be followed by the process of doing the research, because again ang framework ng good class, that is the core, that is the backbone of your research. So if you don't have the backbone, then there will be, kung wala kay foundation, wala kay backbone, ang imong research is not essential. So stop creating your research if on the first place you know already that you don't have the framework to do it. However, try to place your research question in the context of either a current hot area or an older area that remains viable. Secondly, you need to provide a brief but appropriate historical backdrop. Uh, Actually, the point of the introduction is not just about showing or showcasing your your bright and, let's say, smart kanang articulative nga talent, but it's about how are you going to at least establish a statement that is very timely. At the same time, it's one foot, it's something that is easy to understand by the reader, because if you don't, for example, no, if you have this kind of research that is based from uh, from some old articles century ago, and then it happened that you wanted to modify that research based from the title that you have newly created, then you have to do some historical backdrop with that one. Okay. Simple naman ang iyang atong pamagi na to create the introduction class. Just do some reading naman. Okay? The word read lang jud. Thirdly, provide the contemporary context in which your proposed research question occupies the central stage. And finally, identify the key players and refer to the most relevant and representative publications. In short, try to paint your research question in the broad brushes and at the same time bring out its significance. So, try to try to evaluate your the article, and then uplift those ideas that for you is significant sa inyong study. Read, omit, paste, di ba? Yan na naman na siya. Dito ta mag-copy, omit, paste. Mag-read ta, read, omit, paste. So, i-read mo ang article, i-omit mo ang mga non-essential nga mga words or statements, and then you paste it according to what you have understood. Di ba? So that is how you create the introduction. So these are the following elements for the introduction. No? State the research of the problem, which is often referred to as the purpose of the study. Provide. I hope you already know. I hope you have already encountered this one sa inyong no? Yun na encounter sa inyong capstone research niya. Ang mga components sa research. May I know? Okay, so ako na siya basahon na. Provide the context and set the stage of your research question in such a way to showcase or show its necessity and importance. Present the rationale of your proposed study and clearly indicate why it is worth doing. Briefly describe the major issues and sub-problems to be addressed by your research. Okay, this one. I want you to consider this one, this component. Briefly describe the major issues and sub-problems to be addressed by your research. No? I hope mo reflect na sa inyong capstone research kani siya nga component sa introduction. Briefly describe the major issues and sub-problems. So again, it should be something that is factual, not fictional in yung buhaton. Identify the key independent and dependent variables of your experiment. Alternatively, specify the phenomenon you want to study. So majority of you here do not know how to establish variables. So I hope you will do some reading para mabaon yun siya. State your hypothesis or theory, if any. For exploratory and phenomenological research, you may not have any hypothesis, but do not confuse the hypothesis with the statistical null hypothesis. Set the delimitation of or boundaries of your proposed research in order to provide a clear focus and provide definition of key concept. This is the reason why I wanted you class to list down the key terms of your research. Piece of advice lang, just list down the different key terms. Key terms na pwede pangitaon nimo sa mga research or sa mga article. Okay, ako nabalik-balik ko sa inyo para jud mabawaan jud ninyo kung say point of the key terms. Because key terms man good, pwede po siya makatabang sa inyo hang variables. Okay, I'm telling you, it's very helpful jud. Okay, literature review. I think you know already how to do this one. Most professors prefer a separate section which allows a more thorough review of the literature. So the function of this one is to ensure, to give credit, to demonstrate the knowledge, to demonstrate the understanding, to show the ability to critically evaluate relative literature information, indicates your ability to integrate and synthesize, provides new theoretical insights or develop a new model. This will be the challenging part of doing the literature review. I-highlight natin eh. Provides a new theoretical insights or develop a new model as the conceptual framework for your research. Do not just copy paste ang tanan literature. Ha? Pangkahanta mo ha? I've read your answers sa 3 eyes from module 1 to 3. I've read it already, and it's quite disappointing, Manggod, because it doesn't mean, Manggod class, that we are actually doing these online classes. Pasahan ko ninyo o based on what you have Googled. Please lang. Okay? Piece of advice sa inyo hang mga brains. Okay? Ibutan niyo siya mga auto ka polite. Ayaw mo niyo pasahi o Googled ng mga answers. Why? Ma-verify na mo na siya. Because ang yung mga answer is gapanganak. Okay? Na ay reproduction process. Kung kani si Kwan nag-answer dani, hindi na ako mag-mention sa name. Nag-answer si Kwan dani, si Pilato. Matingala ka kay si Punsya na ay iyahang answer na based on Pilato. And the worst thing is that, mutabok pa dyan ang answer ni Pilato dito sa Pika section. Diba? So please do not kanabitang pass a work based from what you have Googled. Ayo na kayo ang iyong mga answer sa questions na nakabutang sa module, to be honest. So, I know, no, we teachers are not perfect when it comes to delivering our topic, but we have to be student-centered at the same time. You have to do your own job as a student as well. If there are terms or there are topics that you think is na missed, no, the teacher pag-deliver, can you do some research? But please, do not attach what you have researched based from what you have Googled said. Do not copy-paste everything, paliyog lang. Because, amo dyan na siyang makuha class, amo dyan na siyang mawaan diretso. Okay? So, how I relate to the literature review? It's the same thing. Okay? Ayaw, pag i-google na siya, then i-paste mo tanan diya. No, that's not how you do it. You should do some deep understanding. Okay? Deep reading. Do those things. Okay? It's your job as a student. It's our job as a brainiacs. No? No, brainiacs mo tawag sa'yo. Di may bright. It's not about usang ka bright. It's about how you operate your brain. So, if you are a brainiac, then absolutely use that brainiac of yours. Okay? Do the right thing, please. Do not just, ayaw niyo basta-basta. Okay? Nasabtan ba, students?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Palihog lang ha. Hindi na ako mag-mention sa names because namanggod sila Dani. Sila Jud. Okay. Convinces your reader that your proposed teachers will make a significant and substantial contribution to the literature. It's this time. Okay. Let's just skip this one because we have discussed it already. Okay. Methods. Okay, before we end. let me discuss with the methods themselves. So some methods or like the methodology, the chapter 3, no? The method section is very important because it tells your research committee how you plan to tackle your research problem. Tackling means not only about verbalizing everything, no, it's about you do your research. For example, no, uh, how are you going to conduct the research? Is it based from the survey? Is it based from the interview? Is it based from the questionnaire? Is it based from the work, no, of the other researchers that just wanted to modify? So yan na. So you have to tackle, no, you have to make some uh, you communicate your method through doing uh, through actual do some actual work of your research. The guiding principle for writing the method section is that it should contain sufficient information for the readers to determine whether methodology is sound. I think you are already aware of the components of methodology, so I don't have to discuss, those components. But make sure that you have you have this one, you have understood all of those components na na-discuss na sa inyo. The guiding, furthermore, since there are no well-established and widely accepted canons in qualitative analysis, your method section needs to be more elaborate than what is required for traditional quantitative research. This is the very this is the most challenging part of the research, the methods, because you have already the floor, on how are you going to establish and how are you going to build your research. So you have your freedom to actually create your research, no, but it should be based from the right methods. So you can do whatever you want on your research, just to make sure that you are aligned on the it should not be the contrary, no, on the beliefs, on the norms on how to do the method. And more importantly, the data collection process in qualitative research has a far greater impact on the results as compared to quantitative research. So, differentiating the qualitative research to quantitative, the methods will be affected because they have different, they have different ways on how are you going to measure your research on a qualitative research and on a quantitative research. So, different ways, different agendas. So, it's very understandable mo po at the same time. We will continue our discussion siguro next this Friday. So, any questions so far?
Wala na, sir.
Wala na?
Ano, sir?
So, we will continue this one next week. Next week, this Friday. I mean, this Friday. And then, tomorrow, kung face-to-face mo, can we bring some for our physics, can we bring some na lang class? Calculators, and then also papers and pens because we will do some assessments, okay, based from what we have discussed sa physics, starting from the Kirchhoffs until the electromagnetism. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. I hope you'll have a great day, and then keep safe. Okay, goodbye.
Sir. Bye.
Thank you,
Goodbye,
sir.
sir.
Bye.
Okay, goodbye, goodbye.
Bye, sir.
Bye, goodbye, goodbye.
Bye.